a black woman is playing Diana in Pragmata, and of course nobody actually cares about this. This isn't really a controversy. This is just a basic observation, because this is something that I do think we need to talk about when it comes to voice acting, is that like nobody really cares about the race of the person that is playing the characters. Okay, nobody's ever cared. It's a performance art, it's a skill set, like nobody really cares. Okay, it's not a big deal at all. But, for the past decade, we've seen a lot of people, such as ProZD and, like, the Simpsons writers, and a lot of major, like, animation projects in the West push this idea that, like, no, we need to have people who look like the people they're voicing the character. Like, it's just stupid. It makes no sense. It was always just a nonsensical thing. It was, to my eye, was just a means of, like, getting, like, established white actors out to get more diversity in. So to me, it was just a giant cope to kind of remove like all this established industry talent and try to push like genuine hacks on board. People like Young A, people like ProZD, people who like can get paid less and like coast by on their like YouTube careers. Like we've seen this happen a lot over the past couple of years, and I'm just so embarrassed at seeing like how the industry at large tries to do this thing where like they try to make this into an actual controversy. When like, we see situations like this and like nobody really cares. Nobody brings it up. I didn't bring it up. I don't care. I don't address this. Like, it's not something that I care about. But, when it comes to our political enemies, when it comes to like the left and like, the industry and what they're trying to do, like what they're trying to do is like push this idea where like we get rid of established talent for perceived racism and perceived stereotypes instead of like, just giving the job to whoever they want. Okay, it's just like it's embarrassing and pathetic and really should be called out for what it is. Like, it is just obviously political pandering. It's obviously woke. It's obviously trying to like demean white people, right? And it should be called out for what it is, like racist profiling, because you never, ever, ever see people complaining about blacks voicing white characters in animation, right? Kratos is the example everyone brings up, Samurai Jack. But, you also have situations like this, you have situations in anime where you have, like, characters, people voicing, like, obviously characters that are obviously different from them. Like, again, it's voice acting. It's all part of the field, right? Nobody expects the actor to look just like the character. That's just silly. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just a voice, okay? And this is like pretty obviously common sense, but this has become a major talking point over the past several years, with people like ProZD like coming out and trying to say that like, yes, we have to get rid of all the white people to give me other minorities that aren't me like more opportunities. And it's just like you can tell it's just a means of like furthering their own careers, and that's why so many people have like such contempt for it. It's why people just have this idea that these people are just like parasites, because like you're really going to argue that you're being robbed of opportunities for roles because of white people. And then you're going to turn around and complain when the same racial profiling that you pushed for in the begin with comes back and bites you in the ass. Because that's what happened to ProZD, is that he pushed for the racially profiling voice acting roles. And then he was upset when he wasn't allowed to like voice for any of the other characters. When like, they told him that he could only voice like the Asian guy in a cartoon. Like, he was seething about that. It's just the reality of where we're at right now. Right? We're seeing the point where like Diana, we're seeing the point where like characters like this, like, it's so obviously hypocritical, and it's going to implode at some point. Like, the question now is, like, when it's going to happen. And I think in a lot of ways, the fact that we still talk about the ProZD controversy today, like, I think that really demonstrates where things are going, where people are just sick and tired of this performative woke bullshit. Okay, people are sick and tired of these kind of things happening, of of these issues coming up. People are just really, really tired of this being like some major controversy. When in actuality, it just feels like people are just trying to find something to get upset about, trying to find something to be mad about, trying to be angry about like what these companies are doing. Okay, it's just absurd. Honestly, I feel as if like eventually what we're going to see is that we're going to see a lot of these companies and a lot of these brands start failing, start collapsing, stop being successful, and we're going to see like more other creators like start to take off, becoming genuinely popular. Like what I think is going to happen is that the click is going to become like this super unpopular thing, a major red flag in the industry, while like people outside of the click start succeeding and start doing really, really well, really well. I'm not sure when, how that's going to happen, because I would say traditionally voice actors have been like the people in the process that have been most vocal about pushing their like woke ideology onto fans. Like they've been doing it since like the early 2000s. So I am very, very curious to see at like what point we are going to see like a complete collapse of this narrative. Like, and again, I think we're already kind of at the point where like voice actors aren't really treated like celebrities, that people are losing interest in conventions, that people are just like kind of getting fed up with like the notions of like these kind of things. Hopefully this is like the beginning of the end of this nonsense. I do hope that more people start speaking out against it, that there's more vocal opposition, that there's more things going on, that there's more methods of like dealing with this kind of thing. Honestly, I would argue that the best thing for an American to do is just learn Japanese and then just like play the Japanese version. So we don't have to deal with the localizers, we don't have to deal with the voice actors. Like nobody actually, should care about the English actors. And we're getting to that point for sure. But like, it's only a matter of time until they try and like shove their nonsense onto the Japanese as well. They're in the early stages of that. But again, we will be there speaking out against it when they try to make that happen. And it's just going to result in the same thing, where people just aren't happy with this kind of rhetoric. So yeah, that's my thought on it. The voice actor thing needs to completely die.